Hey there, welcome to today's video. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, man, I wish I had learned more of Grandpa's old school gardening tricks, then you're in the right place. We're about to uncover Grandpa's 33 free gardening hacks you'll regret not knowing sooner. Stick around if you want to see how simple tweaks, like making fertilizer from leftover weeds, snagging free mulch from local tree trimmers, and keeping pests at bay without chemicals, can save you time, money, and a whole lot of hassle. Number 1. Make fertilizer from weed tea. People often toss their pulled weeds straight into the trash, but soaking them in water transforms that yard waste into a potent plant booster. Experts note that common garden weeds contain high levels of nitrogen and potassium, which dissolve into the water when left to steep for about 2 weeks. Grandpa used to fill a bucket with weeds, top it off with water, and let the mixture brew in a shady spot. After straining, he'd dilute 1 part tea to about 10 parts water, then feed it to his vegetable beds and potted plants. It's a fantastic way to recycle green waste and enrich your soil without spending a dime. Moving on. Number 2, ask tree trimmers for free mulch. Instead of buying bagged mulch, Grandpa always flagged down local tree trimming crews. Many arborists have to pay fees to dump their wood chips, so they're happy to drop them at your place for free. A layer of these chips improves water retention, regulates soil temperature, and suppresses weeds. Current articles mention that chip mulch also breaks down over time, releasing nutrients into the ground. It's smart to keep a bit of space between the chips and plant stems to avoid rot, but otherwise you can pile them on 2 to 3 inches thick and let them work their magic. Next, number 3, use tree branches as trellises. If you've got fallen limbs or trimmed branches lying around, turn them into rustic plant supports. According to gardening forums, these homemade trellises blend into the garden's look better than store-bought metal cages and cost absolutely nothing. Grandpa would pick branches with sturdy forks, push them into the ground near climbing beans or peas, and gently tie vines with twine to help them cling. Over time, the branches decompose and nourish the soil, making this hack both practical and eco-friendly. Let's keep going. Number 4, make tomato cages from wire mesh. Supporting heavy tomato vines is crucial to keep the fruits off the ground and prevent rot, and wire mesh cylinders do the job well. Grandpa would buy a roll of wire mesh, often called concrete remesh, then cut it into 4-foot sections. Rolling each section into a cylinder and fastening the edges with zip ties or wire gave him a cage that stood upright around the plant. Studies say that tomatoes produce better yields when they are kept off damp soil, and wire mesh allows good air circulation. That means fewer fungus issues and healthier harvests. Number 5, get free compost from municipalities. Many cities collect yard debris, like leaves, grass clippings, and small branches, and process it into compost. Because they have more than they can possibly use for public spaces, these municipalities will often give it away free. Grandpa used to call the local waste management department and pick up as much compost as he needed. Research shows compost improves soil structure, boosts moisture retention, and provides essential nutrients for healthy plant growth. Transport can be messy, so bringing buckets, bins, or a tarp is a good idea. Now on to another tip. Number 6, let insects handle pests. Not all bugs are the enemy. According to entomology articles, ladybugs, lacewings, and praying mantises feast on aphids, caterpillars, and other pesky critters. Grandpa planted dill, yarrow, and marigolds to attract these beneficial insects. He avoided broad-spectrum pesticides because they'd also kill the good bugs, ruining the natural balance. If aphid colonies got out of control, releasing a container of store-bought ladybugs in the evening helped keep things in check. This hands-off pest management style is easier, cheaper, and healthier for the environment. Next. Number 7, trap slugs with wet plywood. Slugs and snails come out at night, so Grandpa placed a damp piece of plywood on the ground to lure them. Early in the morning, he'd flip the board to reveal a bunch of slimy squatters hiding from the sun. Then he'd handpick them into a container of soapy water or feed them to chickens. Garden websites note that wet cardboard can also work for this method, as the slugs naturally seek out dark, moist hiding spots. This technique's chemical-free and straightforward, making it ideal for organic gardens. Moving along. Number 8, use cinder blocks for raised beds. Instead of building raised beds from pricey lumber, Grandpa stacked cinder blocks in a rectangular shape. They lock together neatly and last much longer than untreated wood. Research shows raised beds warm up faster in spring and have better drainage overall. Grandpa liked to fill the block's holes with herbs or companion flowers, maximizing every inch of growing space. This setup might not look as polished as wooden beds, but it's durable, functional, and can be rearranged easily if needed. On we go. Number 9, make your own insecticidal soap. Store-bought sprays can be pricey and often contain harsh chemicals. A safer, cheaper alternative is homemade insecticidal soap. 1 teaspoon of mild liquid soap, like Castile soap, mixed into a quart of water. Shake it up in a spray bottle, then coat aphids, spider mites, or whiteflies. The soapy film suffocates them, but won't harm beneficial insects if used sparingly. Experts advise spraying in morning or evening when the sun's not blazing to avoid leaf burn. Grandpa used this regularly on his roses and tomatoes whenever pests started popping up. Next trick. Number 10. Support plants with sunflower stalks. After sunflowers finish blooming, their tall, woody stems can serve as excellent stakes for climbing or vining plants. Grandpa would cut the stalks close to the ground, let them dry, and store them until needed. Articles about sustainable gardening suggest using them for beans, peas, or cucumbers because the rough texture provides a natural grip. As the stalks gradually break down, they add organic matter to the soil. This approach saves money, reduces waste, and looks pretty cool too. Let's keep moving. Number 11, grow microgreens indoors. Microgreens are trendy for good reason. They're nutrient-dense, fast-growing, and can be grown year-round in small spaces. Grandpa started by filling a shallow tray with seed-starting mix, scattering seeds like radish or arugula, and covering them lightly with soil. Studies show that microgreens pack more vitamins per bite than their mature counterparts. Within a week or two, they reach a few inches in height and can be snipped off for salads or sandwiches. If you're low on garden space, this is a brilliant way to get fresh greens. Next hack. Number 12, place sponges in pots for moisture. Terracotta pots can dry out fast, and many folks struggle with overwatering or underwatering container plants. Grandpa used clean kitchen sponges at the bottom of pots. These sponges soaked up excess moisture after watering, then released it slowly as the soil dried. Various gardening forums highlight how this helps prevent root rot and keeps water more consistently accessible. Just be sure to use new plain sponges without antibacterial treatments, because you don't want chemicals leaching into your soil. Let's keep going. Number 13, collect free leaves for compost. Autumn leaves are a goldmine of carbon-rich material, yet many people simply bag them up for the landfill. Grandpa would gather as many as possible, run them over with a lawnmower to shred them, and layer them in his compost bin. Articles about composting emphasize that a good carbon-to-nitrogen ratio speeds up the breakdown process, and leaves are an excellent source of browns. Once decomposed, this leaf mold compost adds beneficial microbes and nutrients to your garden beds. Moving forward. Number 14, start seeds in yogurt or solo cups. Instead of buying fancy seed trays, reuse yogurt cups or those red party cups you have lying around. Grandpa poked a few drainage holes at the bottom, filled them with seed starting mix, then planted a couple of seeds in each. The cups are sturdy, cheap, and easy to label with a marker. According to horticulture sites, good drainage and light, airy soil are key to strong root growth. When seedlings outgrow the cups, transplant them into the garden or larger pots, giving them a chance to thrive. Next up, number 15. Buy affordable hand plows from Asian markets. Hand plows, sometimes called hand hoes or Japanese garden hose, can be surprisingly expensive at big box garden stores. Grandpa discovered that Asian grocery stores or markets sometimes carry these tools at a fraction of the cost. Articles on specialized gardening tools describe how their sharp metal blade and lightweight design are perfect for raised beds or small vegetable plots. You can cut through soil and carve neat rows without straining your back. This thrifty tip is perfect for both beginners and seasoned growers. Onward. Number 16, build raised beds from salvaged wood. Construction sites or neighbors replacing fences often have leftover lumber that would otherwise head to the landfill. Grandpa collected any solid, untreated boards he could find and assembled them into raised beds. Gardening blogs note that raised beds help control soil quality, reduce weed competition, and can even extend your growing season by warming up faster in spring. Lining the bottoms with newspaper or cardboard further blocks weeds, and adding a mix of compost and topsoil sets you up for a lush harvest. Next idea. Number 17. Use cardboard for weed control. Instead of fighting weeds with herbicides, lay down flattened cardboard in garden paths or around vegetable beds. Soak it thoroughly to help it mold to the ground, then cover it with mulch or compost. Science-based gardening sites explain that cardboard blocks sunlight, suffocating any weeds below while slowly decomposing into organic matter. Grandpa used this trick to reduce weeding chores and improve the soil over time. It's an excellent method for establishing new flower beds too. Let's move on. Number 18, use cinnamon for rooting. Whenever Grandpa took cuttings from herbs like rosemary or basil, he dipped the ends into a bit of cinnamon powder. According to horticulture forums, cinnamon works as a natural antifungal agent, protecting the cutting from rot and disease. Over time, that improved the chances of successful rooting. This same method can be used for houseplants. And the best part is that cinnamon is cheap and easy to find in your kitchen. Next up, number 19, replace lawn grass with native plants. Big, perfectly manicured lawns require loads of water, fertilizer, and maintenance. Grandpa decided to remove sections of turf and replace them with native wildflowers, ornamental grasses, or ground covers that thrive in local conditions. Experts report that native plants offer a habitat for pollinators, need less watering, and generally resist pests better than exotic species. You can still keep a small patch of lawn if you like the look, but cutting down on turf saves both time and money. Moving along, number 20, reuse your coffee grounds. Most folks toss used coffee grounds in the trash, but Grandpa would collect them for his compost or apply them directly to certain plants. Articles from horticultural research institutions confirm that coffee grounds add a bit of nitrogen and improve soil texture. Their coarse structure can deter slugs too. He made sure to let the grounds dry out first to prevent mold, then stored them in a sealed container until he was ready to spread them. Next, number 21, diapers in hanging baskets. Lining hanging baskets or window boxes with unused or clean leftover diapers is a trick that helps maintain moisture. The absorbent core holds onto water, slowly releasing it over time. Modern gardening blogs mention that this is particularly useful in hot climates or for people who can't water frequently. Grandpa made sure to remove the plastic side tabs, then place the diaper absorbent side up before filling the basket with potting mix and plants. A quirky hack, but it really works. Next tip, number 22, use old bread racks from bakeries. Local bakeries often throw out metal bread racks when they get damaged or replaced. Grandpa found that these racks, with a bit of cleaning, could stack up as shelves for container plants. Vertically oriented racks give you more growing space in cramped areas and allow for better air circulation around each pot. Tips from urban gardeners suggest attaching racks to a wall or fence for stable support. It's a free or low-cost way to achieve vertical gardening and reduce clutter. Let's move forward. Number 23, collect rainwater in barrels. Hook a barrel or large container to your downspout to catch free water every time it rains. Water usage statistics reveal that outdoor irrigation can account for up to half of a household's total water consumption. By collecting rainwater, you reduce utility bills and provide plants with chlorine-free hydration. Grandpa would cover the top of the barrel with a fine screen to keep out mosquitoes and leaves, then use a simple spigot at the bottom to fill his watering can. It's a straightforward setup that pays off. On we go. Number 24, line plant pots with coffee filters. If you're tired of soil seeping through your pot's drainage holes, place a coffee filter in the bottom before adding potting mix. The filter allows water to pass but keeps soil contained. Gardeners online recommend this trick for indoor plants, as it prevents messes on floors or windowsills. Grandpa also said it helps keep the soil more stable around delicate roots, which can be especially helpful when moving pots around. Next hack. Number 25. Protect plants with plastic forks. Rabbits, squirrels, and other critters sometimes love digging up young seedlings. Grandpa would stick plastic forks in the ground, prongs up, to discourage small animals from nosing around. Several gardening communities mention that this method keeps cats from using garden beds as litter boxes, too. It's a mild deterrent that doesn't harm wildlife, and you can remove the forks once plants are bigger and tougher. Moving on. Number 26. Collect pumpkins for compost. After Halloween or Thanksgiving, people often throw out pumpkins en masse. Grandpa would scoop them up, minus any candles or decorations, and chop them into chunks for the compost pile. According to composting enthusiasts, pumpkins decompose quickly and feed beneficial microbes. If you want to do less physical labor, bury the pieces directly in garden beds. This approach not only enriches your soil, but also reduces unnecessary landfill waste. Onward. Number 27. Dig trenches for natural edging. Instead of installing plastic or metal garden edging, Grandpa dug shallow trenches between the lawn and planting beds. Current landscaping guides say that a V-shaped trench about 3 inches deep can block grass roots from creeping in without needing extra materials. It's a cost-free solution that looks neat and can be refreshed a few times each season. Plus, you avoid the hassle of dealing with cracked or shifting plastic edging over the years. Next, number 28. Build a 3-bin compost with pallets. Many businesses give away wooden pallets for free, especially if they're broken or have odd dimensions. Grandpa used 3 pallets to form a U-shaped bin, then repeated that setup side by side to create 3 separate bins. Garden magazines highlight that having multiple bins speeds up composting. 1 bin for fresh scraps, 1 for partially decomposed material, and 1 for finished compost. It's sturdy, ventilated, and much cheaper than commercial compost tumblers. Moving along. Number 29. Regrow grocery produce. It's fun to regrow green onions, celery, or romaine lettuce by placing the rooted ends in water. After a week or so, you'll see fresh shoots and you can transplant them into soil for a longer harvest. Articles note that potatoes with eyes or garlic cloves that sprout can also be planted. Grandpa would do this year-round on a sunny windowsill, turning kitchen scraps into new crops. It's a cool way to reduce food waste and enjoy a small but satisfying harvest. Let's continue. Number 30. Use baking soda for fungi. Powdery mildew and other fungal infections can spread quickly in humid conditions. A simple home remedy is mixing 1 tablespoon of baking soda and a few drops of dish soap into a gallon of water. Grandpa sprayed his cucumber and squash leaves weekly during damp weather. Garden experts explain that baking soda slightly raises the pH on leaf surfaces, making it less inviting for fungus. This is a mild, budget-friendly approach, especially if you prefer organic methods. Next idea. Number 31. Save seeds from produce. Heirloom tomatoes, peppers, and melons can yield seeds you can dry and plant in the next season. Grandpa used to pick the best-looking fruits, scoop out the seeds, rinse off any pulp, then lay them on a paper towel to dry for a week. Studies show seed saving helps preserve desirable traits, like flavor or pest resistance. Store the seeds in labeled envelopes in a cool, dry spot until planting time. It's a classic tradition that ensures you always have a free supply of seeds. Carrying on. Number 32. Companion planting. The idea is that certain plants grow better side by side due to mutual benefits, like pest deterrence or improved pollination. For instance, marigolds near tomatoes can repel nematodes, and planting basil among peppers can enhance flavor. Grandpa always referenced old gardening books, and nowadays you can find loads of charts online showing which combos worked well together. Companion planting can reduce the need for pesticides and make more efficient use of space, something many modern organic gardeners swear by. Finally, number 33, use vinegar for cleaning tools. Basic white vinegar is handy for scrubbing away rust or mineral deposits on metal tools. Grandpa would soak pruners, trowels, or shears in a bucket of vinegar and water solution for a few hours, then scrub off any residue with steel wool. Afterward, he'd rinse them well, dry thoroughly, and apply a light coat of oil to prevent future corrosion. Studies on garden hygiene emphasize that keeping tools clean also lowers the risk of spreading plant diseases. It's an easy final touch that keeps your gear in shape. For more content like this, click here to subscribe.